Hey, here we go again. A different kind of Superhuman radio show today. As many of you know, the server went out. And so yesterday we did a Facebook Live with Rob Regish and I, and it even made it to Patreon and the YouTube channel. So got a lot of exposure. We're doing the same thing today with Dr. Jeff as well, because we have to deliver content to the audience. The show must go on. You know that. How you doing, Dr. J?
I'm good. Hang on, I gotta switch the on-air light on so nobody knocks on the studio door.
Okay. Take your time. Take your
All
time.
right.
Because they will knock. I know that. Anyway, so this ought to be a lot of fun. So we have a really good conversation to have here. What Dr. Jeff wanted to talk about today was actually supposed to be done.
All right, we're good.
We want to talk about professional athletes as role models. This has really become a hot topic today. Even subliminally, even when we don't talk about them being role models, their actions have a direct effect on the children who follow them. You were a role model to a degree when you were a professional bodybuilder. I have to believe you did events posing where kids came up to you and thought, man, I want to look like you someday.
But you know what? I remember even in high school, you didn't think about it, but young kids looked up to you. And I didn't realize that until my freshman year in college. I had a whole bunch of coaches and friends, from my high school come to me to come to watch my first game. And I remember a young kid came up and he had a program and he asked me for my autograph. And I mean, I was just like, what? And that's when I realized that, we are role models to people our own age, our peers, and younger people. And it is a responsibility of an athlete to set a good example for the community, for kids, and for other people.
But okay, so that's I want to look at the word good example, because I think that if you ask different people what a good example is, different opinions. It's because the reality is what a good example to you is based on your experiences in life and what you attribute to being good behavior and not so good behavior, and someone else's is based on their experiences in life. So how do you come up with a set of, okay, we all agree on this type of rules no matter what camp you're in?
But you know what? People know what that means, because I remember a couple years ago when the Billings Wolves professional indoor football league was starting up. And I was invited as the main sponsor to come speak at their opening meeting. And right before me, they had the chief of police speak. And the reason why was because the prior team had drug issues, assault issues. They were terrible for the community. And this police basically said the same thing I said. Look, guys, I'm telling you right now, you are role models. Kids look up to you. You need to set a good example. And I think anyone who says, I don't know what a good example is a crock, because again, a good example means you're not, you're not getting drunk. You're not doing things that are against the law. You're not causing trouble. I mean, you can go off and say, well, okay, well, getting drunk is okay. That's setting a good example. No, it's not. I mean, that's just common sense.
Well, then what about professional athletes that flaunt their success? They flaunt the money they make. That could be good and that could be bad, because it could help one kid focus and say, I want to have that someday. At the same time, it could also make some people feel inadequate and, gee, I'll never have that, so my life sucks somehow.
Well, I mean, I think that's, I wouldn't consider that as far as, when I'm talking about good example, I mean being a good citizen. I guess some pro athletes, might flaunt their money, flaunt their success, but you don't see a lot of that where they're going, oh, hey, look what I got and you don't have it. I think a lot of times most of the athletes were poor, and now they have something, and really it's the TV that wants to show them off. I mean, look at there was a TV show where they were going into all these rich athletes' homes. And, you know, I remember going, watching one where Shaq, because his house was so big, but he was kind of humble while he was taking people around, almost to the point where he was a little embarrassed because he had so much. But, you know, so again, I don't see so much of that as an issue as, you know, again, what we saw here with our Outlaws team, you know, where guys and coaches, you know, were busted for cocaine, gun, you know, they were pulling out guns at the nightclubs, you know, drunken driving. I mean, that's just not being a good citizen. And that's what I mean by not setting a good example.
You know, I've often wondered what the rewards for success would derive from when you think about this. And we've actually talked about this in past shows, this phenomenon. For some reason, when people reach a certain level of success, they think they're entitled to live a high-risk lifestyle,
right?
And actually become more thug-like, if you will. You know, like the law doesn't mean anything to me. The government doesn't mean, and I'm not saying all successful, but at least we see highly successful people getting addicted to drugs and dying from drugs and alcohol. It's almost like when you've reached it, now you can do everything you possibly can to completely crap on yourself.
You get caught. I saw a bumper sticker one time, and I always remember this. It said, cocaine is God's way of saying you made too much money.
Yeah.
Not really, but I think it's a trap. You know, when you don't learn how to control money, and I don't care whether you have $100 or you have $100,000. You know, if money becomes your boss, money becomes your ultimate reason for living, you are going to abuse it. You know, and there's nothing wrong with money. I mean, that's what makes the world go round. It depends on, you know, again, what you do with it, how you use it. You know, again, athletes go from 0 to 100 overnight. You know, they're poor. They get $100 million contract. They don't know what to do with that money. There was an old show, and I might have talked about this on the show, but it was Brewster's Millions.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Pryor inherited $30 million, and part of the will said you have to spend it in 30 days. And by the time he got done spending that money, he was so sick of money that he didn't want anything to do with it. Well, he turned around, he inherited $300 million. But what his grandpa or nephew or uncle was trying to teach him was to basically be sick of money, because it's very easy to, you know, again, go out and do stupid stuff with money, drugs, alcohol, guns, you know.
Where does patriotism fall into? I mean, we're really skirting this issue, but we should talk about it because we all have opinions. So where does patriotism fall into this discussion of what is considered good and bad? And I want to preface this.
Right.
When we were young, and I can say that about you and I because we're in that same
right.
Boom. When we were young, the Vietnam War was not popular. And as a very young boy, I'm talking about in my 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old life, I was against the war because I was I learned from the media and from people around me that, because I couldn't fashion my own opinions, let's be honest, but I was against the war. And I remember when people started sewing the American flag on the back of their Wrangler denim jean jacket as a sign of protest, because you weren't supposed to put the flag as clothing, and that kind of loosened up now. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So is patriotism something that's dynamic and changing what it means to be a patriot? Or is it etched in stone, this is the only way you could be a patriot?
You know, I think just the morals of humanity are changing. You know, things 20 years ago, things that weren't acceptable now are acceptable. I mean, that's the downfall. You know, one of the things that's sad about human beings is we do not know how to learn from history. You know, if you go back in history and you look at the fall of every great empire, you know, the same things happen. And, you know, the world's fallen into the daggone same thing, you know. And I think, again, you know, a lot of people have said, hey, what's your opinion on the whole NFL and the kneeling at the flag? And I don't like to speak politics. I don't like to give my opinion because, again, that's my personal how I vote and what I do. That's
Right.
me. It isn't for me
Right.
to go out and share it. But again, dealing with athletes, whether it's being disrespectful to a kid, and I'm going to put this in two ways. What's the difference between? I remember several years ago going out to Madison Square Garden because that's where the Miss Olympia used to be, and at the same hotel I was staying at, in came one of the professional basketball teams, and I don't remember what team it was. I want to say it was LA or something, but anyhow, kids knew that the team was staying there. They were standing outside the hotel. These guys got off the bus or the limo or whatever, and these kids asked these guys for an autograph. Every one of them refused and basically blew these little kids off. And I thought, how dare you? These are the ones coming to the games, paying your salary, and you can't take the time. At the same token, here come in some bodybuilders, and they stood there and took the time to talk to people, autograph,
pictures with them,
pictures. So what's the difference between, that and kneeling for the flag? I mean, okay, I understand the flag stands for something else, but what do those kids stand for? Again, I think athletes just think they are so far beyond everybody else that they don't think. Remember back in the 60s when those two United States Olympians, I don't know what, they stood and they raised their fist.
Yeah. That was during the Black Panther movement.
They got their medal stripped away. Why? Yeah. Because that was disrespectful. That was not the time and
that
place.
Wasn't the forum for that type of.
No. Right. And the same thing with, all of whatever your issues are as an NFL player. Okay, you have the right to protest, but I didn't hear any of these guys protesting before the season.
Right.
They weren't out marching at the White House. They weren't putting petitions together. Why all of a sudden at the game now, that's the time to do it. So that's what I think is bad. It isn't the fact that they protested. It's the fact that they did it on their job. Could you imagine you and I coming and on our jobs, we start protesting? Would people buy from us?
Yeah, and when you do that, your boss lets you go if you're not in the office. So
that's my real issue is it's not the proper place. Now, if you ask me about the flag, I mean, come on, this is United States of America. Look at what just happened this past weekend. And I really feel that all this stupid stuff that these athletes do gets people riled up to do stupid things. Why would somebody go out there and just cause all that devastation in Las Vegas? What riled him up?
Yeah.
It's when people who are in authority or are in the spotlight, start talking about how terrible our country is. If you don't like our country, I'll show you where the border is. Move.
Right.
No one's making anybody stay here, right? If you didn't like it, wouldn't you move?
But some people say, yeah, but I want it to change and be a better country, which I agree with.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But the reality is that what ended up happening with the NFL actually hurt the NFL and didn't make the cause any stronger. What about this that no one talks about when it comes to the NFL? The NFL has a history of domestic violence.
Yeah.
I mean, they got players that are beating women up all the time. I mean, you don't see any, not in basketball, not in baseball, not in any other sport do you have now. Some of it could be TBI. I'll tell you something else. I'm going to tell you something. And I could be really off. But I think that this whole take a knee thing, really, what no one is paying attention to is exactly what it was meant to do. No one's talking about encephalopathy or TBI anymore. They're not talking about Aaron Hernandez's brain. They're not talking about any of these poor guys out there who having all sorts of traumatic brain injury symptoms today. No one's even paying attention to that. Roger Goodell was looking at having to change football. Oh, you can't hit hard anymore. I mean, it was going to be this whole new thing. And no one is talking about that anymore. All they're talking about is take a knee.
No, it definitely was some.
These poor guys are suffering, and now that's been pushed to the back.
Yeah,
I find that very suspicious. I really do.
I do too. And again, at the end of the day, as we started out, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a NASCAR driver, basketball, football, you're an actor. I mean, again, people look up to you, and I feel that anyone who has any type of celebrity-ness, including this show, we have a responsibility, and we have some morals that, we're supposed to be bringing the truth. We're supposed to be providing information. We're supposed to be doing it in a tactful way. There is a time and place for everything, and on the job is not that place.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. What's going on with you? Looks like you've really stepped up your training.
Yeah, have been getting back. We're gonna do another transformation challenge at the first of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I got one guy older than me and one kid younger than me. I'm gonna basically be training with them for 3 months. Gonna help them reach their goals, and then we're gonna open it up to the globe where people can get in on this transformation. So I thought, well, I got to be ready to endure that for 3 months. So yeah, so I have stepped it up. It's been fun. Again, there is no age to training if you do it right.
And it's amazing how fast your arms came back.
Yeah, they did. I
Yeah.
I haven't really been hitting arms very hard, and they did come back really quickly. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
What else is new? What else is going on? I know that Supplement Santa isn't until Christmas now, right? That's the deal. We got the change up coming up, right? Where people change up their creatine.
Yeah, we do. So Supplement Santa is going to be the big one. Is going to be December 6th and Christmas. And it's been fun this whole year. Giving stuff away. Again, trying to be an athlete, trying to set a good example. But it's been fun giving stuff away on the Supplement Santa. But I decided to wait and do one big one at the end of the year. I think doing it every month was just getting a little too monotonous for people. And then, it wasn't the good time. So I thought I'm going to do it Christmas and then July. We'll do it twice a year. And then there'll be a way for people to participate without even listening to it live.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun. New book just came out, the Carb Phobia, Stop the Madness.
I just found that email in my other
Oh, you did?
Thrive email account. I just found it this morning. I was like, when did Jeff send this to me? That the new book. So we'll get it changed up this weekend on the website. We're going to take the Lean Mean Muscle Machine down.
Mm-hmm.
Put the new book up. How's that sound?
That's good. I got a whole bunch of them, man. I'm in a writing mode. My next one is actually it's a full contest prep. So you want to know how to get ready for a contest. It's going to be starting at 16 weeks all the way through. So it should be pretty good because so many people, need some guidance, especially if you're just getting started. What do I do? How do I diet? Or even people that are paying, thousands of dollars for a trainer. I'm going to put it in a book and I'm going to give it away for free.
That's awesome. That really, really is awesome. I know I got to let you go here in a second. Dr. Chris Masterjohn never responded, so I don't think he's going to be on after you, but I have some things I need to cover with the audience anyway.
Sure.
And I'm going to be, so I got an email from Brian yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a guest on your show. Your show is local to Billings, right?
It is. It's very interesting because it's the EFX Sports Show, and it is on ESPN 910. So it's live here in the Billings area on the radio, AM 910, which is where all the ESPN shows are throughout the country. And then the ESPN streams it live through the internet. So basically people can listen to the show live on Sunday morning between, it's an hour show, 9 to 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And then ESPN 910 podcasts that, and then it goes out the following Tuesday as a podcast. So it's a really growing show. It's a fun show.
So, wait a minute. We got a question here from Jeff Clifton. Let's see what it says here. He says, Jeff, how big of a role does sleep play into digestive disorders? I sleep at night half the week and then work at night the other half. I always have brain fog and digestive problems. If my sleep was routine, could I expect huge improvements? What do you think?
That's a good question. Obviously, sleep is very important, but I would say that, that wouldn't be the biggest deficit to digestive issues because so many people out there are on swing shifts and their bodies do adapt to different types of schedules. So I don't know if sleep would be I wouldn't worry so much about sleep.
Yeah. So there's a fellow from California that I know named James Baum, and somehow he's hacked into our network here. Hold on, I'm going to actually add him to the broadcast.
Oh, I guess I should have got rid of that link, huh?
This is like C-SPAN, baby. Hey, James, how you doing?
Good morning. I didn't
Good
even
morning.
know.
Now, you're in California, so it is morning there, right?
It is morning. I'm actually seeing your son later today. Funny enough, we're hanging out.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
What's up, James?
Good morning. I just took my Crealkaline, so.
Oh, right on.
Just
I forgot. See, Carl, I forgot to get rid of that link. There we go, man.
No, look, this is magic. This is
great
television. So. People want reality TV. It doesn't get more real than this.
Oh, this is it, man.
Watching the show is on the air with us right this second.
I like that, man. That's good.
We should do this sometime. Just put the link out there and have people join us. That actually may be fun.
Well,
James is working on a variety of keto nutritional products in his spare time. What is that, James?
This is sugar-free monk fruit. So I use all my anything I do, I use monk fruit powder. That way it doesn't raise insulin or glucose.
And Dr. J, monk fruit is predominantly sugar alcohols, isn't it?
Kind of. It's like what is it? It's like a mogosaccharide, so naturally is sweet, but it's not a sugar.
Yeah, it's kind of like stevia. You know, they take that monk fruit and they extract out the sweetness part of it. So it's not really an alcohol sugar, but it has a very a unique taste to it.
I like it. It's as close as I'm going to get to a 1-to-1 ratio as sugar. So, you know.
Yeah. How's those ice creams coming, man?
We're getting close. It's legal documents, but we just got our certified cottage kitchen license. So we're
nice.
Now we're just trying to figure out how to add the supplements, so like the Crealkaline, the amino acids into the products, because we're making it functional. But what's the
name of the product? What's the name of the product going to be, James?
Well, we have Fit Scoop ice cream. I don't know the name yet because 80 kind of turned people off on 80% fat, even though it's not like bad fats. So we got to reformulate the name. But the company's keto dessert company. So I mean, I'm not saying to cut out your carbs, but if you're going to have a dessert, I think this would be a better option. You know, so I still think like carbs around your workouts are great, and vegetables and stuff. But when you overdo the carbs, I think that's the part where people say, "Oh, I don't want to get rid of my carbs because I get rid of." Well, no, that's where the dessert company comes in. Hopefully, where you can still eat your fruits in moderation and vegetables. But then when it comes to the desserts, at least you're getting a healthier, low glycemic.
Unless you're like Dr. J, who loves to stay active, so he eats more carbs just so he can stay active, right? Am I right or wrong?
Burn it off.
Yeah, but you know what? I am not a fan of sugar, so I would eat that ice cream because I don't like sugar, so I try to stay away from sugar. I'd rather have the fat than the sugar. So,
Dr. J, we have to let you go, I think, because this is the bottom of the hour for you.
But I guess it is.
If you want to stay, you can stay. I'm just going to talk about the website. I got to.
You go ahead, and I would definitely stay, but I got to get ready to film the next show. So I will sign off, man. But this was cool, James. Thanks, man.
This is really cool.
Yeah, we're going to do this again. This is a brainstorm. We're going to do this again. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
I'll talk to both of you later.
So here's the interesting thing about this. A couple months ago, many of you know that we lost superhumanradio.com. And as a result of that, James, yes, you flex while I talk. This is good. This is good TV.
Whatever I can do to bring more people to your show.
There you go.
I'm just here to help.
So when we went down, our Alexa score, when we switched over to .net, was over 14 million. And this morning, it's 421,000. It's actually back to where it was before Superhuman Radio website was repositioned, let's say. Try to be nice about it. So I just want to let everybody know something. That's not because of me. That's because of all of you. All of you in the Superhuman Nation who heard my cries for help, who started sharing shows left and right, who started telling friends about the show, who helped us get links spread around Facebook. All of you who helped me with that. You are the victors. You are the power at the base of the pyramid, okay? Because of you, what could have been complete annihilation of this show forever. Actually, our audience is bigger now moving forward. Our downloads are higher now.
Awesome.
than before. So it just goes to show you that good always wins over evil. It does. 100%. It does. Anyway, so James, it's nice of you to have stopped by.
Just luck of the draw.
I know, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a link out on Facebook one day and say, "Come on and join me on the air." And I think it'd be interesting to see who shows up. I really do.
I'll definitely show up, and whatever I can do to help you out, I'm all for that, of course.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Tell my son I said hello when you see him. Okay?
I will today. I'll make sure to see him. Like, what? You spoke to my dad?
Yeah.
Well,
All right, well, that's all we've got today because it doesn't look like Dr. Chris Masterjohn got the message. So we will do so Dr. Chris Masterjohn is coming on the show for one reason and one reason only. Every time I say to somebody that I eat liver, they always say to me, "Oh, the liver is the dirtiest organ in the body. It's where all of the toxins are trapped. You're basically eating a toxin bomb."
Don't they filter it though? So it shouldn't be an issue.
Well, but here's the thing. I don't know. So I started thinking to myself, I eat a lot of liver. I eat at least a pound of liver 3 times a week.
I thought liver was healthy for you.
Okay, so we're going to find out because it may not be. It may not be. And there's only one person who I trust discussing this, and that is Dr. Chris Masterjohn. So he'll probably be on next week. To do that show, and that's all I've got. I'm gonna say goodbye, and thank you to James Baum for showing up, and thank you to those people who are watching live.
Having an awesome show, and hopefully more people watch this and just get the word out. Superhuman Radio.
Thank you.
The best show out there.
Thank you, James. And we're gonna bid everybody goodbye. Thank you for watching today.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.